Shalom, and welcome back to another little mini episode of I Am Talking to Jew. Today we're talking about Jews and non-Jews and their relationship.
Yeah, it's another little episode when we're sort of branching out from just talking about Judaism.
You know, we can't just harp on about Jews all the time, you know?
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
like it's what the podcast is about.
No, well, I just think it's important. People have, by the time you're listening to this, you probably celebrated New Year's as well. You're probably not ready for a full-length I'm Talking to Jew episode. Here's another taster to just get you.
Ease you back into 2018.
Ease you back into. Welcome to 2018. It's not 2018 for us at the moment.
Whoa, this is like the future.
Yeah, it's freaky.
How does that work?
How is it 2018 already? That just makes,
I
makes
really,
no sense to me.
Well, it's not going to happen, but I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah.
I just want to be alive in like when it gets to 21, not 2021, but like 2100.
Okay.
The year 2100.
It's not impossible.
I might make it.
Because
maybe.
think about also how medical technology is advancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be interesting to say it. Like when you get to like 2118.
I don't like that people are saying 2018.
No, just say 2018.
Just say 2018. It's cleaner.
Yeah. This rolls off the tongue.
100%.
Which I think like 2145 doesn't, you know?
2145. Yeah. Well, you'd probably just say 45, I reckon.
Yeah, I guess so.
The same way you'd say like the 1980s, you just call them the 80s.
Yeah.
No one says, oh, the 1980s, as in to specify that versus 1880s or 1780s. Yeah. Anyway, that's not actually the topic for today.
Yeah, I got a little bit sidetracked early on there.
That tends to happen with us. We're actually going to talk about the relationship between Jews and non-Jews.
Ooh, a couple of people who haven't got along sometimes.
Yeah, it's actually a stupid idea for us to have done this topic in a mini episode.
Yeah, because we're talking about the relationship of Jews and everyone else, essentially.
yeah. It's we don't like generalizations, but we're going to have to make lots of generalizations. Basically, what is a Gentile?
Yes, because I, funnily enough, had never heard that word until we started this podcast.
Yeah, and we also, like on our social media and stuff, we always say a Jew and a Gentile do a podcast together.
Yeah.
So what is a Gentile?
It's interesting that you have your own word, like within the Jewish culture, for people who aren't you.
Yeah. Well, Gentile is an English word. I can't remember where it comes from, but it just refers to anybody from any one of the multitude of nations that's not the Jewish nation.
It's almost like a Muggle.
Yeah, it does sound a bit like Muggle.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah. There's nothing inherently negative.
Yeah, the Muggle's a bit more
Gentile.
negative.
I think it's just a convenient collective noun for someone who's not a Jew. Because even if I say I'm a Jew and you're a non-Jew, non-Jew sounds like, well, there's something wrong with you for not being a Jew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas Gentile is well, at least we have a reference that's not. It's I don't know how to say this. It's like not a reference that's dependent on Jews. Like it's your own identity without saying you're all Gentiles are the same.
Yeah. I also just think it sounds nicer.
Gentile.
Yeah, and a non-Jew.
Yeah, because Gentile sort of sounds the same.
Yeah, like if in Harry Potter they were just called non-wizards. That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work because then their identity is inherently tied to, I don't know, wizards, right?
Yeah.
But a non-Jew, your identity would be tied to not being a Jew. It's like calling a man a not woman. Do you know what I mean? Like a non-woman. Or like a child a non-adult.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. Anyway, so what is the relationship between Jews and Gentiles? Basically, I don't know how I can distill that, like thousands of years of relationship.
Ours is pretty good.
Ours is awesome.
Yeah.
And I think most people living in Western society today, to be a Jew in 2017, in most countries, obviously not all, but most countries, I don't think there's ever been a better time to be a Jew.
Yeah.
I really don't.
2018, like it is.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Whoops, sorry.
First one of those for the year.
Time jump. Yeah. So having said that, and again, I don't think that there's no way I can overestimate just how accepting Australia as a whole is, or even America, especially America, as like Western countries. That's where I have experience, not at the detriment of any other country, but Australia is very accepting. Like no one.
Oh yeah, well to some.
Yeah, to some.
There are some people who are.
I'm talking from the perspective of a Jew.
Yeah, I kind of feel like most Australians, when they find out someone's Jewish,
Yeah.
just like, oh, that's neat. That's fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
because we
I
don't
think
really
they know.
we don't really
much about
notice.
Jews. Yeah, you don't really know, and there's not enough Jews in Australia to really create some sort of cultural understanding or recognition of Jews and Jewish culture.
Yeah. One thing I have noticed about like the whole Jewish
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
is it's a little bit like not excluding anyone,
Yeah.
but very like keeping to yourself
Oh,
type
absolutely.
of ideals.
Okay, so let's dive into that because I think that is a product of two things. One, it's a product of the necessity of continuing the Jewish tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And number two is I think that it's just been sort of like stamped into our national consciousness because of the thousands of years of persecution.
Yeah, had
and
some
when I'm
rough
talking
times.
persecution, I'm talking like Spanish Inquisition, where
Yeah.
Jews were either tortured until they converted or forced to convert or killed or expelled from countries. I'm talking about crusades, which from a Jewish perspective, the crusades were just disasters. They were just massacres of Jewish
Yeah.
villages. And obviously the Holocaust, which is the big one. But it would shock people to know that the Holocaust is not the only mass example of Jews being killed. I mean, Jews who lived in Eastern Europe for hundreds of years were constantly under the shadow of we might get expelled, we might get attacked, we might get massacred. And that's been the history for 2,000 years since we had a sovereign kingdom in Israel
Yeah.
in like, I don't know, when was the Second Temple destroyed? Like the year 70 CE or AD, depending on how you count it.
Common error.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to know the difference between CE and AD, listen to our episode from last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nailed it. It feels like people have just had beef with the Jews for so long.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
What did you
Maybe it
guys
has
do?
to do with sort of the way cultures developed, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Christianity obviously has a very complicated history with Jews. I mean, I know even up until like the mid 20th century, it was the official Catholic position to blame the Jews for Jesus' death.
Oh, people still do that.
Yeah, and I'm not a historian, so I can't either categorically say the Jews had nothing to do with his death or the Jews were 100% responsible for his death. But number one is not every Jew, even if there were some Jews like the rabbis or the leaders at the time. Number one, not every Jew is therefore responsible. Number two is, like, how does that affect your relationship with an entire people if some people did something wrong? If that's even what happened.
Yeah, people jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, it's
kind
crazy.
of like the original conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah, 100%.
Just got out of hand.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, look, even Christianity, the development of Christianity, the whole way that started with a Jew and a bunch of Jews, and I mean, it's very complicated, the whole thing. But that anti-Semitic persecution riddled history that we have,
Yeah.
I think it really strains our relationship with the non-Jewish world in general, and it also, like, no matter how comfortable we get, because the Jews in Germany, pre-Nazi Germany, were very comfortable, very assimilated, very part of the German society.
Yeah.
And then it just turned like that.
Yeah, what a horrific time that was.
Yeah. So I think that makes a big difference. And I know a lot of people, a lot of non-Jews sort of pick out quotes from like the Talmud or from, less so the Torah, but even the Torah and the Talmud, and go like, look at this is so anti-non-Jew, it's like anti-Gentile, it's like discriminatory against Gentile. I mean, there are rabbis who have said that Gentiles have different souls to Jews, that Jews have superior souls. There are rabbis who said you shouldn't break the Shabbat to save a non-Jew's life.
Wow.
Like, there are crazy things.
Yeah.
And again, you have to delve into each and every example, because to just take out one quote out of context, you can do that to pretty much anything and make it look terrible. But also, number two, you have to understand, like, if you're a rabbi living in a tiny community where your entire relationship with the non-Jewish world around you is persecution and massacring and death and all that sort of thing, they didn't have the internet or global media where they understood that not everyone is exactly like that.
Yeah.
And also, lots of these rabbis didn't write what they wrote to be the Jewish stance on non-Jews for all eternity.
Yeah,
They were writing for a specific people at a specific time according to their experience.
Yeah.
And I think people might not always understand that. And for me, context is everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it is complicated.
It's a rough relationship.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, I've had a great life. I was born in America and lived my early childhood there. Most of my life's been in Australia, and it's been great. I mean, like I wear a kippah when we work together, and some people ask about it, but no one has any issues. No one has any issues with me taking off Jewish holidays,
No.
even though I have annual leave for that.
Yeah.
But I have myself in Australia been subject to anti-Semitism. I've had things thrown at me. I've had things yelled at me. I know people who have been attacked physically.
It's just it's crazy.
It's crazy. And
Yeah.
again, it's the tiny minority. But we have to do it. I mean, we have security outside the synagogue whenever we have communal services for exactly that reason. Because unfortunately, you just need that.
That's just nuts.
It's crazy, right?
It's nuts. And especially, like, for me, I've just decided to have such a privileged life. Like, I'm just a straight white guy from one of the most livable cities in the world. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't faced any adversity in my life.
Yeah, so
It's
thank God
been
I have
cruisy.
Judaism, because that's my minority card.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any other minority cards except for that.
Yeah, I just don't have anything.
You don't have any.
Just nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just been cruise control.
Yeah.
No one's ever
No
thrown-
sympathy for you.
Like, if I've ever had someone, like, throw something at me,
Yeah.
it would have been when I was in high school and it was just some dumb idiot kid doing it.
Well, you
It wasn't
bullied.
because I was, different to them,
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And I think the other thing that I think actually is strains the relationship a little bit between Jews and non-Jews is the emphasis on not intermarrying between Jews and non-Jews. Right?
Yeah. But
So-
you can do that, right?
So intermarrying is like a no-no. Like you,
Yeah. Oh, do you have to convert if you...
So you don't have to convert, but it's recommended that you do convert. But even then, lots of rabbis are anti people converting just to get married. If you convert, because we're not a proselytizing religion. We don't want people to join Judaism. In fact, we actually make it quite hard to join Judaism because we want people to actually want it and not just do it out of convenience.
Mm-hmm. Does it ever happen the other way around?
What?
Do people marry out?
Like convert out of Judaism?
Yeah.
Well, you can't become a non-Jew. You
No,
can't
but I mean,
go
like,
from Jew to non-Jew.
can you adopt another religion? Do people ever do that?
Oh, yeah. People change religions.
Yeah.
But you'll always be a Jew.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You can't get rid of your Judaism. There is a general... I mean, it's actually a big issue at the moment in like contemporary Jewish politics about like how we should let people convert, whether we should let people convert just for marriage and stuff. I think times are changing and the world's changing a bit. But a lot of people, especially older generations, would be mortified if their child marries out.
Yeah.
And I think there are two reasons for that. One is obviously what we said before, because of the anti-Semitism, the persecution, all that sort of thing. There's an element of like, got to stick together. But also there's just a practical aspect of it. Family life and the Jewish tradition and Jewish culture and bringing up your kids Jewish is not only a value in and of itself. I mean, it is, but it's more than that as well. It also is the only way of making sure that Judaism continues.
You got to keep it going.
You got to keep it going, and it's so important. And ultimately, if I marry a non-Jew, and
what would your wife say?
let's say before I married my wife,
Yeah.
if I married a non-Jew, and she didn't convert, and we decided what we were going to do is raise our kids Jewish, right?
Yeah.
That might work for that generation. But
Yeah.
what happens to the next generation? And I think that's the thought process, right? Like, even if it lasts one generation of intermarriage, the Jewish tradition or Jewish heritage or Jewish values and all that sort of thing, it's not going to last longer than that. Now, if you don't care about that, then that's fine. Like, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But I do think you'd be kidding yourself if you thought that, it's sustainable to every generation start intermarrying, because you just assimilate more and more and more.
Yeah.
And I
It
think
just gets watered down a little bit. then,
integration is good. I think Jews should integrate into society, but that's not assimilate.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with everyone. Like, if you're any sort of immigrant, you should integrate, but you don't have to assimilate. Don't lose your culture. Don't lose your heritage. Even if that's Judaism or another religion or another culture that's not religious.
I think that's fair.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about this?
Okay.
Let's say I got married to a non-Jewish person
Cool.
and we just decided to become Jewish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would our kids then be Jewish?
Yes.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yeah, they would be Jewish. But I mean, you brought up a good point, because if I'm Jewish and I marry a non-Jewish woman, unless she converts, my kids aren't going to be Jewish.
That's very
But
cool.
if you're a Jewish woman and you marry a non-Jewish man,
Still Jewish.
your kids will be Jewish. You might not raise them as Jewish, but they'll be Jewish.
Why is it all because of the mother?
Oh, that's also a bit of a interesting
Too
question.
deep? Need a full
It's too
episode?
deep. One of the main reasons that I'm aware of, there might be other reasons, is that, I mean, now it's a bit hard to imagine, but before modern technology, there was no real way of determining who the father was. You sort of had to just assume that what they tell you is true, right? Whereas you can't fake being pregnant. So, you sort of know who gives birth to this child.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know who fathered the child.
This is how Mary got away with it.
Yeah.
The Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
The
Maybe.
Virgin Mary. Air quotes.
Yeah. You said that, not me. But also, again, this is going to sound awful to modern ears, but when Judaism first started, when the Torah first given, polygamy was not an crazy thing. The concept of both Jews and non-Jews,
I still don't think it's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's the way to go.
Yeah. Anyway, we could get into that. But and I guess if you have one man and multiple wives,
yeah,
maybe,
I'm not so much about that.
Well, you want it to work both ways. It's a different word, if you're one woman with multiple husbands.
No, I just think both should be able to have both.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Fair argument. Okay, cool. So I think that's the other thing, the intermarriage, the reluctance of intermarriage is sometimes viewed as oh, you're too good for us.
Yeah. I can definitely see people taking it the wrong way.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's a lot of examples. How the Jews are called the chosen people?
No.
You never heard that?
So not really.
It's like a thing that Jews refer to themselves and other people refer to themselves as the chosen people.
Yeah.
Now you hear that and you go what, you think you're better than us?
Yeah.
But I think that comes from an inherently anti-Semitic place to begin with, because we're not saying we're chosen to be better. I think we're chosen to keep the Torah. No one else has to keep the Torah. You can be chosen for something else.
Oh, well, LeBron James is the chosen one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Or Luke Skywalker was the chosen one. Do you know what I mean? I think it's when you just say the chosen people, you're sort of misrepresenting what it actually means.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, look, we can talk about this topic all day.
Yeah. People, what was the word we did 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It was kind of like arrogance.
Chutzpah.
Yeah.
Chutzpah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Some people might think you have a bit of chutzpah about you calling yourself the chosen one.
100%. That's good.
Yeah.
But I think you have to understand what it actually means. But that is a good segue to our quick vocabulary for this week, which is the Hebrew word for a non-Jew, because Gentile is obviously the English one, and the Hebrew one is goy.
Goy.
Yeah, a goy.
I'm a goy boy.
G-O-Y. Goy.
Goy.
Yeah.
So I'm a goy?
You're a goy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that even better than Gentile, I think.
Yeah, I like the name goy.
Yeah.
He's a goy. She's, yeah. Good.
I'm a goy boy.
Goy boy.
Very, very good.
Awesome. Should we jump into Juv Got Mail?
Yeah, let's open up the mailbag.
All right. Awesome. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. So this one is actually one for you
Is it my number one fan again?
I don't think so. No, you stop trying to fish for compliments.
Uh-huh.
All right. Cal, did you have any misconceptions about Jews or Judaism before meeting Aaron?
I did think that it was... I'm pretty sure I thought it was just a religion before we started this. We may have talked about that at the start.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah, that it's not. It's a little bit more than just a religion. Yeah.
That was probably the big one.
Cool.
I think.
Did you have any, if you're happy to admit this, did you have any stereotypical thoughts? When you saw me, did you think, oh, wow, his nose is not so big?
Yeah. I was like, where are his horns?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard all the stereotypes.
Yeah.
The very tight with money and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess all the classics, but I didn't really believe them.
Mm.
Oh, I guess I didn't know the story behind them, the genesis of those stereotypes.
Yeah. I think we should do episodes breaking down some Jew stereotypes.
We'll do some stereotype.
Yeah, that's good. All right.
But
interesting.
Yeah, not really. Not many two misconceptions.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to be I don't know, so foreign, you know? He's just like a normal person.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
That's the nicest thing I've ever said to you.
Yeah, it is actually.
You're just very ordinary.
That's not the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
No, no misconceptions, I think.
Cool.
Yeah. But we'll talk about all those stereotypes at some stage.
Yeah. I would like to dive into stereotypes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive into this next question.
Do it.
Which one am I going to do? Let's pick a good one. Ooh, this is good, actually. Are tattoos forbidden in Jewish culture? Oh, actually, can I backtrack a little bit?
Sure.
Because I just thought of like this misconception thing. And I don't know if I've told you this story or not before. If I can get anecdotal for a little bit.
You love getting
anecdotal. Give me 3 or 4 minutes. Because this is such a good story. It's so good. This is probably like 2015, maybe?
Yeah.
Right about when I first started doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm doing this like open mic competition.
Yeah.
Right? And there's this kid there. He's like white, blonde hair, and it's all slicked back, like so hard slicked back.
Yeah.
And he's wearing like a cheap suit.
Yeah.
And he's got like a fake nose on, like a real big prosthetic fake nose.
Oh my God.
So like, obviously we're sitting back in like the backstage area, and it's the elephant in the room straight away.
Yeah.
And it takes like 2 seconds to get talked about.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, what's up with the nose? And
he's like on stage. You ask him on stage?
No, just backstage.
Oh, backstage. Okay.
I was not involved in his bit at all. Yeah. And I was definitely not going to be involved in it.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're backstage and I ask him, like, what's up with the nose? And he's like, oh, it's like this character I'm doing as my like routine thing. And I was like, oh God, this is not going to be good.
Oh no.
So I forget what he tells me about it. He goes up on stage and his character is Mort Goldberg. And it's like, oh my God. Yeah. So I'm Mort Goldberg and I speak like this and it's horrendous. Like it's so bad.
Did people laugh?
I think just out of like what's happening.
You don't know what else to do.
Because his whole thing was like, he was pretending to be like a motivational speaker.
Oh my God.
But then he would be like, every 30 seconds or something, he'd say something about his wife. And it was like clear he was like getting divorced or something was happening with his wife. And it was so bad. And this is the best part about it. Also, because his only thing that was meant to be Jewish, apart from the accent he was doing, was the nose. Other than that, he was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white, like slicked back.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
Oh, man.
So he does this whole thing. And then the best part about it is the MC for the whole night was this comedian called Mike Goldstein.
Yeah.
I think his name's Goldstein.
Yeah.
Which is pretty Jewish.
Yeah.
And so this guy does his 5-minute bit, and like this MC basically just like gets up on stage and is like what the F was that? It was like, he's like, like just the nose, like that was it. And also, probably not the best time to do it when the MC's name is Jewish. Mike Goldstein.
God, so good.
So then the whole night goes on.
Yeah.
And this MC was clearly like not happy about it. Like he's announcing like who the winners of the night were.
Yeah. And
he calls a couple of names, and then he calls Mort Goldberg's name.
Yeah.
And this kid starts walking up to the stage. He's like, no, not really. It was so good.
Oh man.
And I've never seen that kid around the Perth stand-up scene again.
Well,
but he was. Maybe I have it. He just wasn't in disguise.
Yeah. My foray into stand-up, none of my Jewish jokes landed particularly well because no one was really aware of even Jewish stereotypes so much.
Yeah, and like because that was the thing about this kid, like what he was doing.
It's the wrong audience.
He wasn't even making like Jewish jokes. He was just being a Jewish guy getting a divorce, basically.
Yeah.
Like he was giving this weird like. He was like, oh, I thought this was like a motivational talk or whatever. And then he would say something about like his wife cheating on him or something. I wonder if I could find the video. I'm sure there's a video of it.
That's bad. All right.
But that's... God, we got sidetracked there for a bit.
Yeah. All right, let's quickly deal with that tattoo question.
Yes.
All right. No, you're not allowed to have a tattoo according to Judaism. Lots of Jews do, but I mean, you don't go according to what people do and what people don't.
Yeah.
But, there are a couple of reasons for it. Probably can't get into it now, but...
Yeah, I killed a lot of the time there.
Yeah. The two main reasons are we don't want to do any permanent change to the body. Why, like earrings and nose rings are okay? Different question. But you don't want to... Yeah.
Well, it's not like permanent when you get
it's not the same.
Yeah.
And the other one is that, like most not most, like lots of prohibitions in Judaism, tattoos used to be rooted in idolatry and idol worship, and so make a distinction between that is like no sort of resemblance of anything that could be misconstrued as idolatry. Yeah.
What if you're getting like a sweet Moses tattoo?
No, I think that would be like, I think that would be flying in the face of the whole prohibition. If you're going to get a tattoo, at least get something that's not, explicitly Jewish.
Okay.
I do know people who have actually gotten God's name tattooed on them.
Yeah, like surely that's all right. I think God would like that.
I think your perception of the Old Testament God maybe, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't make you get a tattoo with his name on it.
It'd be like saying if someone says don't, I don't know, you tell a child don't use the markers on the wall, don't write on the wall. Yeah. And they write on the wall saying don't write on the wall, and that's what they put on the wall. It's like flying in the face of exactly what you want. I'm
going to get a Mort Goldberg tattoo.
I think you should get his face as well.
God, I'm going to try and find that video.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to find it. It's from like, I think there was a video of it from like 2015.
Yeah.
I'd have to find who the kid is and track it down.
God, I don't know.
It was one of the best things I've ever seen. And that's not the, like, I didn't see this. I'll kill another 2 minutes. Another stand-up story.
Do it.
I wasn't there, but at the same competition, I think maybe last year, a guy, a very white Australian guy, dressed up with like a Fu Manchu on and and also a Japanese headband.
Oh man!
So like mixing two different people, and apparently just did like a really offensive Asian accent.
Nah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do like race humor, or you're gonna do like religious humor, like
if there's one thing that sells in Australian stand-up, it's just racism.
Racist.
That's what our country was founded on.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But yeah.
Oh boy.
That was horrendous.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that little tips of what not to do if you're doing a stand-up routine.
I feel like I almost blacked out during that story about Mort Goldberg.
Jeez, that's crazy. All right, well, that's it for our second little mini
another little
episode.
Mini one.
Yep. Next week we'll be back to full-length episodes.
So, I know everyone can't wait to get back into those full-length ones.
Yeah. We did actually run out of time, believe it or not, to do all of our questions. So we've still got a couple of questions banked up. But if you have a question that hasn't been asked or you want us to delve into something more deep, do get in touch. talkingjew@gmail.com or on Facebook and Twitter.
Beautiful. And I guess the last thing, which we didn't mention last week.
Yep.
iTunes reviews.
Yes, please.
We need them.
We need reviews. We need 5-star ratings. Please spread the word. Please share our posts on Facebook. Please share it on Twitter. If someone asks, if you're a Jew and you have people around you who ask you lots of questions that you can't really be bothered or you don't have time getting into, just refer them to the podcast. And if you have a Jewish friend who maybe wants to learn more about Judaism, wants to know what it's like to speak to someone who knew nothing about Judaism and their take on it as an outsider, refer them to the podcast.
That's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it as that kind of vessel.
I have a lot of Jewish friends that listen to the podcast and are interested to hear, I mean, they're not interested to hear me, but they're interested to hear you and your thoughts and take on it.
I like the perspective of like, oh God, I'm so tired of answering all these questions. If you're a Jewish person.
Yeah.
Just go listen to this.
Exactly.
Like, go do this.
Yeah.
Do your own research.
Yeah, absolutely. So please do spread the word, review us, make sure you're subscribed on iTunes. We'll appreciate it, and that'll make sure that we can continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Shalom. I think.
Happy New Year.